Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the Swish. Glad to have you here. Today my guest is my good friend all the way over there from Boston, Geoffrey Daves. How you doing, man?
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me.
Of
This is
course, man.
exciting. First,
Thank you for
first time doing a
coming
podcast, so I
on.
appreciate it.
Since my co-host, yes, this is a dig to my co-host, Rafael Nieto can never come on. I have to get some friends over here to talk NBA with me.
Yeah, bringing the B team back
Yeah,
in.
man. So how are you, man? How's Boston this time of year?
Boston's good, man. Weather's changing. It's starting to get to playoff basketball, so that's important. So it's a fun time in Boston. Not too cold, so it's all good right now.
And have you been keeping up with the NBA?
Yeah, so far as much as I can. Then what's that?
Have you been keeping up with the Spurs? It's a great time
Bro,
to be
I,
a Spurs fan.
this was actually a great opportunity for me to do my wardrobe switch here.
You have
Um,
your gear ready? Yeah, I can see
yeah,
that.
my gear was ready. Um,
Yeah.
I've been trying to, man. It's kind of hard to keep up with them just because they don't get a lot of coverage up here. They don't get a lot of national coverage, um, and so I try to, but it's a little different now without the big three. Shout out to Manu Ginobili, who just got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's cool.
So no surprise there. Um, but
I,
yeah,
isn't it crazy that I get you being over there from Boston? Spurs have maybe what I'm going on a limb here, three, maybe four televised games this year.
maybe,
If that.
yeah.
It's really hard, even here in Laredo and in San Antonio and in some friends in Austin, to watch the games because they're all blacked out because of the
Uh,
whole cable
like
subscription
the contracts and stuff. Yeah,
contracts, and it's annoying, man. It's
dude, that
annoying.
stinks. Yeah, that definitely stinks.
So last time I couldn't even watch Spurs. I was trying to catch Spurs Heat, and I couldn't. It was driving me crazy. And then I was trying to catch Spurs Rockets, and I couldn't either because Victor Oladipo was about to make his debut in that game, and I had to catch it in this random shady website that wasn't good. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm done.
full of viruses, probably shady
Yeah,
page.
the pop-ups and all that.
Yeah,
Well, man, I want to talk to you about the NBA West and East. Right now, we're a week away from not really a week away from the NBA playoffs, but a week away from the NBA play-in games,
yeah,
which I
yeah.
love. I absolutely love that they did that 2 years ago, and I'm a huge fan. I hope this keeps on. And by the looks of it, it looks like it is. So I want to see right now the play. We'll talk about the play-in scenarios right now. Let's leave that till the end
Yeah,
because I'll talk to you right now about the West. Obviously,
yeah.
we'll come back to the Spurs and the playoff scenarios, but talking about the West, what have you seen? What have you liked? Obviously, the Phoenix Suns are the top dogs. They're the
Top
favorites.
dogs.
Not only to come out of the West, they're the favorites to win the whole championship. Chris Broussard on First Things First came out saying this is their year. They messed up last year.
Yeah,
They couldn't overcome. They couldn't finish. Not overcome. Sorry, they couldn't close off of that 2-0 lead against the Bucks. So this is their year. Nick Wright, which I love that guy. He's probably one of my favorite on-screen personalities right now. He just came out with a podcast, so he always talks about LeBron, which I like. He always talks about just a
La
lot of
Bum, La Bum.
LeBron. Yeah. He always talks about. He always brings out great stats that no one covers. So he
Yeah,
talks about the Mavs a lot, and
mm,
our friend Richard's going to be super excited about that because he's a huge Mavs guy. So
huge.
I want to talk about those two teams right now, the Suns and the Mavs, and then we'll get
Yeah,
into Memphis Grizzlies and the Golden State Warriors. But what have you seen from the Suns? What do you think? Do you think he's right? Do you think Broussard is right? They're going to win this year?
dude, I think so, man. I think Booker is an amazing player. I don't think he's been given the credit that he deserves. Um, he's kind of sneaky, always under the radar for MVP. He people are saying that like should he be in the talks now? And man, he just balls out. Like he just recently went off a couple games ago. And he's been playing really well. I mean, Crowder, Aiton, it's just like a well-oiled machine there. They're what, like 62 wins or something?
Even Bridges and Cam Payton,
Uh,
they're the type of players that at first glance you're like, oh yeah, they're pretty good, but you don't know how well they mesh with the team, how great of a chemistry they have, and that off the bench production that they have, and especially Bridges, he has great defense. I remember when they played the Heat, he just locked down Tyler Hero coming off the bench. He even had some switches with Jimmy Butler and couldn't let him do anything. So I'm loving that team. Obviously, Booker doesn't get a lot of MVP recognition because of one, the whole league is stacked right now when it comes to
mhm.
talent. Joel
Yep.
Embiid, Giannis, Jokic,
Joker. Joker,
and
dude.
Luka. I mean, it's just crazy. But also, I mean, you have Chris Paul in the mix, so it just goes to without Booker. I think they still ended up having a good run, maybe a 7-2 streak. But they know that Chris Paul is the floor general. They need him to get the offense going, and then in late game situations, in clutch situations, that's where Booker's going to come in. So the record right now, a ridiculous 62, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, I have it here. 62-16 with only 3 or 4 games left. They're facing the Los Angeles Lakers next. They lost to the Thunder yesterday, but they rested Booker and Aiden. So they're going
Mhm.
up against the Lakers. Do you think everyone plays, or do you think the Suns, with already the first seed locked in, with
Yeah.
3 or 4 games left, do you think they're gonna rest their starters, get ready for the playoffs?
Yeah, so I feel like this is always the hot topic, right? When it cuts down to the end of the season, do you keep playing them so they still stay like a well-oiled machine, or do you rest them? Um, it's kind of hard to say what they'll go with, but I feel like if they've already locked the number one seed, they're playing against LA. I think LeBron is probably not going to play because of his ankle, and AD is like limping around in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, what do they have to prove? I think the hardest thing for the Suns is getting over that hump. I mean, Chris Paul's like notorious for like, can he win the big game? And he hasn't proven himself yet. Well, I shouldn't say that because obviously he's a fantastic player, but he hasn't won the championship yet. And so that's what's gonna come down to, man. Like, can they execute and win the games? I mean, I think they're like averaging like, I don't know, 100 and something points per game,
I think
and like in the fourth quarter,
something like that.
how many?
115 or 116, something like that.
Yeah, and they're like just putting up great numbers in the last like 15 games or something like that.
Well,
So
the problem here is that Chris Paul got injured last
yeah,
year coming into the playoffs. I think in the first round, to
yeah,
hit that dislocated thumb
yeah,
injury,
yeah,
and he re-injured it again this year mid-season. But
yeah.
they've been in a great position all year that he was able to get that rest. He was able to get that rest, recover. He came back. Like you said, there's only 3 or 4 games left. I think they have 4 games, if I'm not mistaken. So there's definitely time to rest and then kick it up a notch when the playoffs start. And even then, I don't think they might need to kick it off till the second round, because if anything, the first round is going to be whoever comes out of the play-in tournament, and that might be, actually, that's true. It might be the Spurs. We'll talk about that right now. But what I want to know is, what's your prediction for the Suns? Do you think the Suns easy run to the NBA Finals?
I don't think it's gonna be easy. But I, the, when the Spurs are not involved, I'm actually gonna root for this.
Spurs are
I'm
going
gonna
to
root.
upset make it. Don't say
Yeah.
the Spurs are going to make it. Come on.
No. I know they won't. But so I feel like I'll probably root for the Suns. Like I feel like, so I'm gonna root for them, and I'm gonna say yes. I think they will win it this year.
It's CP's
Um,
year, CP3's year.
I think so, man. I think CP3 deserves it. I think him and Booker, I think they'll win it this year. I mean, it's just, it comes down to the matchups, right? Giannis, like that's their biggest matchup, I think, flaw.
Yeah.
That would be my case against the Suns. Like what their competition, who they match up against, you know, like even if they play the Warriors, The Warriors already beat them twice this year. So, and now they got Klay Thompson, best shooter in the game. So, I don't know, man. It's going to be tough, but I'm going to root for them.
Curry's injured right now, but he should be ready to go when the
He
playoffs
should
come
be
around.
ready. Yeah.
The only threats I see, I can't say that the Warriors aren't one because they definitely are. Draymond, he's been solid throughout the season, but then you see him as an analyst. I think maybe his head's not in it. He's been publicly saying that I've been playing horrible, and then in other games like we're just playing bad as a team. I mean, when you have Curry and Clay, you cannot count them out, especially with Wiggins in the mix. So it's not that I'm saying that the Warriors don't have a chance because they do. They could probably get second round and even make it to the conference finals. But these two teams that I'm about to talk about next, are the ones that I see as the most imminent threat to the Suns. And one of these two teams stand out the most. Memphis Grizzlies, which is
Hmm.
crazy. They actually beat the Suns 122 to 114. Now check this. Without John Morant, without Desmond Bain, without Steven Adams, and without Jaren Jackson Jr.
Hmm.
They had 30 assists in the game and forced 20 turnovers from the Suns. And they're actually 20-2 without John Morant. So what does that say right off the bat? It's just so crazy how they're winning without Ja and how they're playing with Ja. It's just a great combination, great depth in the bench, and they actually are a really really dark horse to make the NBA the Western and the NBA Western Conference Finals. Now, my dark horse to actually beat the Suns, that is my bold prediction, and I don't like it, but I think it could happen, and that's going to be my prediction. Are the Dallas Mavericks? The
Oh,
Dallas.
Luca. Big Luca fan, huh?
Now check out Luca, MVP caliber season. He is
Hmm.
third or fourth as of last night in MVP voting.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get over the hump of Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. So he's going back and forth with Giannis. He is averaging 28, 9, and 9, and he's the only player to average 27, 7, and 7 in the league right now. And he is just crazy, versatile, and it's weird for a player of that like build how smooth and easy he makes everything look. What do you think about those two contenders right there?
Yeah, so it's crazy. So that stat of John Morant is kind of wild, right? Like 20
Yeah,
and 2
it's
without
crazy.
him.
I couldn't believe it either.
I mean, keep him off the court then, because apparently you keep winning. I mean, don't rush him back if you're Memphis. It sounds like whoever you put in the lineup, you're still winning, um, which is unbelievable, because I feel like Memphis, I never paid attention to them until like the playoffs when they, Zebo was on the team and stuff like that. But like now they're,
Yeah, the grit
I,
and grind Grizzlies back in 2013 or 2014.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
They
the
beat
Mavs,
the Spurs.
huh?
When they beat the Spurs, am I
They
right?
beat them. Yeah, they beat them.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So I think of the two, though, I think the Grizzlies probably are a better dark horse, if you will. The Mavs, dude, they're hot. They have a good defense. I think they have a top 10 defense in the league, but they're like so streaky. They still have off nights. It's if Luca has a bad night, forget it. If he has a decent night, you know, maybe you can get it. They just have these rough nights offensively, and their defense is going to have to step up. From, I mean, I think they're the one of the teams that shoots the most outside of the paint. Like
Mhm.
they shoot most of their shots anywhere outside the paint, like 60% or 50%, something like that. And if you go cold in the playoffs,
Well, I wouldn't say they live or die by the three because Luca is very very crafty that he could definitely get inside and everything.
mhm,
But I get you. I get you. They're very streaky in the sense that if Luca's not on, then who's the next man up?
yeah,
Since the trade, I actually like this, and I told Richard this because we talk a lot about the NBA, the Heat, Mavs, and everything. And Spencer Dinwiddie, in 20 games, he's averaging 16.4 points per game with 4 assists. He had an awesome buzzer beater over the Nets, and I think it was actually over Kevin Durant, if I'm not mistaken, which was amazing. And
Oh
then
yeah,
Jalen Brunson, which many say is going to be a very, very sought after free agent because he just burst onto the scene. He's having a great year, 16.2 points per game with almost 5 assists and 4 rebounds. So that big three, if you will, for Dallas is working right now because they're producing exactly the right amount of role player offensive boost off the bench. That's roughly what you want. You want a good role player. Well, in this case, they're starters, but you want those averages 16, 17, 18 for your second and third guy. I mean, in most cases, now teams have big threes that are averaging 25, 26, 28 points. But it's not a bad scenario when you have Luka dominating basically the whole floor. So their defense, what you said, is what I think might make a difference over the Grizzlies. Not by a lot though, by very little. But that's
yeah,
my prediction. I think they might be able to surprise the Suns. I mean, obviously, this is a Suns year. This is a Suns year to lose.
yeah.
This is a Suns year that they have to win, and these are their two contenders. That's it. So you say Grizzlies, I say Mavericks. Both very good predictions. How you're saying with the Grizzlies, John Morant, even Jaren Jackson, they could all rest. They have 4 games left.
Mhm.
They are second in the West, 55 and 23, and the Warriors are 50 and 29. So they have more than a wide open gap to be able to secure that second spot because they're not going to catch up to the Suns. No way, no how.
No, I mean the Grizz have, I think, top two records against teams with a winning record,
Yeah,
and the Grizzlies are 13-7 against the Western's top seven.
that's right.
So, I mean, they just keep winning, man. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know. I don't see the Mavs kind of.
So let's just say the Western Conference playoffs start how it is right now with the record.
Yeah,
So the Suns would it's because with the play in it kind of makes it. Let's talk about the
yeah,
play. Then we'll go into our predictions, which we kind
sounds
of
good.
both already said Suns are going to make it out, but just to make it a little bit more interesting,
Yeah,
Lakers, do they make it or they're done? They're done.
basura, bro, basura.
They're done, man. Yeah,
They're
that's it.
done.
Well,
They
look,
had they tried to get the OGs. You know what I mean? They tried to get the OGs. They got Carmelo. They got Russ. They got AD. They got LeBron. They tried to go with the OD crew. I can't think of the other guy's name right now. Anyways, and dude, they just not gelling. Like matter of fact, I think last night or whenever the Lakers played, they were like, "Oh, I've never seen Russ this good, and he's only good when LeBron's off the floor. And you're always gonna have LeBron on the floor. He's the best player." Um,
what's
so
crazy is that Russ. I've always said this as an individual player. He's great. Statistically, he's amazing, averaging a triple double. I kind of don't like the fact that he won MVP because it actually just widened the MVP the qualifications because they were a 6 seed. So that's why Jokic is getting a lot of hate because they're I think right now the Denver Nuggets are a 5th seed. So they're like, well, Embiid's a third
mhm,
seed, Booker's first. Like it gets to a point where like now teams that are lower seed in the conference, regardless East or West, have qualifications. So I kind of hated that. But what I've always said, he's a great player, but he's not a great team player. You've seen
mhm.
it with Durant. You've seen it
Yeah,
with Harden. You've seen
yeah,
it with Beal. And that
dude. I
was
God,
yeah.
I really thought that was gonna work. I thought Beal and him were just gonna take
Well, I
off.
think that they had a stretch of like what was it, 10 or 15 games where they went 12-3 or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
around that area that they surprised and people were like, oh shit, like this could actually work. What happened? They didn't even make the playoffs.
they
So
never
it
made it.
was. I think they were in the play-in scenario, but honestly, to be honest, I don't remember, and I don't think anyone cares. So
No,
that's
no one, no. Okay. And
so
now the Warriors have Porzingis as their savior.
exactly. And either Bradley Beal or Donovan Mitchell is going to go to Miami next year. Count on that. But that's for another story. That's for another time. We'll talk about that another time.
Damn, with
Let's
Jimmy
talk
buckets.
Lakers. Spurs are 2 games up from the Lakers and hold the tiebreaker. Who do the Spurs have next? Let's check their.
The Spurs have Denver, Minnesota, and
I have it right here.
Dallas.
They just beat the Trailblazers 113-82. They have Nuggets, Timberwolves, Warriors, and Mavericks. Those are tough games, man. Those
Yes.
are tough games.
But the win against Portland was huge.
Yeah, they're huge. They got 2 games up
Mhm.
because not only are those 4 games very, very dangerous territory to finish 4-0, the Lakers also have a tough, 3 or 4 games remaining as well. First off, going up against the Phoenix Suns. So
That's
the
a loss.
Lakers, the Suns, Warriors, Thunder, okay, whatever, and then Nuggets.
Loss, win, loss. That's what's going to happen right there.
The 1 and 3. Whatever happens, I think the Spurs have pretty much sealed the deal. Although I will say this, LeBron, to be eligible for the scoring title, has to play in 2 of the remaining 4 games. So, is it 4 games? Yes, 4 games. So, between the Suns, Warriors, Thunder, or Nuggets, he has to play in 2 of those. But, I mean, if they lose against the Suns, it's done. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I know we have those tough games left, but Spurs are 5-2 against the possible play-in opponents. So,
okay,
so those odds, Elon. I like those odds.
If San Antonio ends up with a 10th seed, which it seems like they might, because the Pelicans they're a game ahead, but Spurs
they'll probably play.
Spurs hold the tiebreaker over the Pelicans. So regardless, they could switch back and forth. They could either end in the 10th seed or the 9th seed. But regardless, that's going to be their first matchup.
Yeah.
Barring any miracle from the King James or any mess up or injuries from the Spurs, it's going to be Spurs Pelicans. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the only way the Lakers can make it is if the Spurs lost all 4, and I think the Lakers had to win all 4 or something like that. Even so, the Spurs hold the tiebreaker against the Lakers. When it comes down to the Pelicans and the Spurs, I feel like that's our arch nemesis. I feel like we always are around the Pelicans record. I feel like we're always just battling against the Pelicans. I don't know why.
CJ McCollum's been doing amazing.
I mean, CJ McCollum is fantastic. Ingram is just balling. I don't know if you saw that dunk on LeBron, and then he stared him down like you're like just basically telling him what's up.
And people always forget that they also have Valanciunas. That's also been balling out.
I did forget about Valanciunas myself.
Exactly. That's why that big 3, and then you might have Zion coming back. Who knows what the situation was doing with him? So let's just give our predictions right now. Spurs Pelicans playing game. Spurs get the win. A very close.
Spurs squeak by.
And then we have Minnesota Timberwolves, which have been playing great also. Great young core. Edwards he's honestly one of the most exciting players in the league that people forget.
I think he's right behind Ja Morant, in my opinion.
Exactly. And maybe give him another year or 2, and if the Timberwolves add just 1 or 2 more pieces, he might just be up in that level.
It might be.
So Timberwolves, Clippers. Clippers have Paul George back. I don't know what's the scenario with Kawhi. They say he might come back, he might not. I would be surprised if he does. But say for the sake of this argument, he doesn't come back. Paul George is back. Kawhi is out. Clippers, Timberwolves. Clippers take it.
I have to agree. Paul George, I always had this thing about PG that he's just kind of like a little under the radar too. He just came back and put up 34 points in 30 minutes or something. And I think he has like that end game factor. It's going to be close. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a close game, and PG is going to hit the buzzer to win the game against the Wolves.
Player. People forget about his playing games with the Indiana Pacers. He was great, phenomenal. He has that clutch gene. He just had some bad luck with injuries. But the Clippers don't have a bad team. Reggie Jackson. They have one of the Morris twins. They have a Terrence Mann, which I'm a huge fan of. They have a good coach in Ty Lue. So, I mean, they could squeak by. I think in this playoff scenario, my prediction Clippers beat the Timberwolves. And I'm sorry to say, you might have to switch your cap right now, but Clippers beat the Spurs. And
Yeah,
Clippers
probably.
beat AC.
Probably, but you never know. Hey, you're forgetting about the guy with the best percentage of 3-point shooting on the Clippers, Luke Kennard, 45%
Oh, yeah.
behind the three.
Sure. I'm saying Clippers have an underrated team.
They do.
They just need to be healthy. And with Kawhi and Paul George, I mean,
Well,
they surprise if they're all healthy.
yeah,
Which,
well, hopefully maybe they'll all get like, I don't know, like a GI bug that doesn't allow them to play against the Spurs.
well, keep on dreaming, but we'll see. So Clippers advance. They'll go against the Suns. I think the Suns win. I think it'll eventually come down to might be Warriors, Memphis in the second round. I think you and I agree Memphis takes it. So Dallas and Phoenix would be in the second round. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I would like to be in Dallas for that. Let me tell you, that would be a great game to go watch.
I don't know. I don't know what to predict. My bold prediction is I'm sticking to it. Dallas upsets Phoenix, and Dallas and Memphis conference finals. Dallas makes it. You would go the other way around. Phoenix wins, beats Memphis in the conference finals.
Yes.
Okay.
You're going down, come out of the West.
I'm going bold just because my boy Nick Wright, predicted it, so I'm going with it. Okay, let's move to the East.
All right.
Miami. I could spend an hour.
Jimmy buckets, baby.
Buckets, Bam, Tyler Hero. Love me some Tyler Hero.
Yo, have you tried his coffee yet? Jimmy Buckets coffee?
No, I want to try it. I don't know
how
would even go. Is there like a website? That'd be
I think so. He's like, starting his own coffee thing.
I know that there's a tennis tournament in Miami, the Miami Open, and Jimmy Butler got his big face coffee to come to be like part of the Miami Open, which is
dude. Order some coffee beans.
I'm gonna try, man. I'm gonna find it or send me some.
I'll try to find you some.
All right, so Miami's in first. Boston. Let's talk about Boston because holy shit, man. Boston has been incredible. In the month of March, they went 11-3. They're 2-0 right now in April with 3 games remaining. They started the season 18-21 and have completely surprised, turned their season around. You living in Boston, what's the whole atmosphere like? What's going on over there?
Oh my god, dude. It's crazy. The atmosphere is crazy. From people on the train to when I go get my haircut, the barbershop guys are always talking about the Celtics and, that they're wicked good and the freaking Boston Celtics and like, where could I win it? Like it's hot right now. It's everyone loves it. I mean, at the beginning of the season, people were like, oh, this is not going to be a good year.
Where they're blaming, where their fans like, no, Tatum's got to go, Brown's got to go, or who's the coach? Who's the coach right now? Spurs player, Spurs.
Udoka, bro.
Udoka.
Udoka and Will Hardy, his assistant coach, both from San Antonio.
Were there a lot of blame going around, coach-wise, player-wise? Marcus Smart, I hate him. Marcus Smart is like a Patrick Beverly. I hate him. But if they were ever in Miami, I would receive them with open arms. Like,
yeah, dude, he's definitely that type of player. I think the mood originally when the season began was like first was like Danny Ainge. They're like, Danny Ainge, you got to make a move. We got to make a move. We got to make a move. And everyone was like, we need to get rid of Tatum or Brown.
Yeah.
And that was like the hot topic. And like you would find people in the city, and that was like their first question: who are you going to keep, Tatum or Brown? Who are you going to keep, Tatum or Brown? Wow. I was team Tatum. I said keep Tatum. That was if they had to choose from one.
If it came down to it,
if it came down to it, I was like keep Tatum.
I would choose Tatum also. Brown's a hell of a player though, but
I think he is a fantastic player, and for Boston's sake, I'm glad they didn't get rid of him because he just went off like yesterday or the day before. And then I think kind of people weren't sure about Ime. They weren't sure about his like coaches, but the players love him. Like they all say he's a player's coach. They all like, he's a cool dude. He always has your back, but then he'll like light a fire, light a fire under you so you can, get going.
Mhm.
But I think time just kind of allowed Coach Udoka and Will Hardy and I think Damon Stoudemire. Shout out to Damon Stoudemire,
Oh, wow.
who's on this
Yeah.
coaching staff. To like they kind of allow them to gel and work their magic. And I think they're 14-2 or 13-3 since the All-Star break. They're
Yeah.
on a hot streak. I know they just wait. Did they just lose to Miami or did they beat
Yeah, they
Miami?
just lost to Miami,
They
but
lost.
they killed Miami about a month ago in Miami. They completely destroyed them by over 20. So Miami was waiting for that revenge game, and they got it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away anything from the Celtics. They're 49-30, second in the East, literally just 2 games behind Miami. With they actually have 3 games remaining, so I think maybe Miami has a weak schedule because they have the Hornets might be a little bit tough, but then they have the Magic, so that might help them out secure that number 1 spot. But Celtics, man, also I was talking. I have this group chat where we talk basketball. I'm gonna send you an invite, man. You need to be in that chat. But
Let me
we have
get
a
in on
group
that.
chat where we
Let me
talk
get in
basketball.
on that.
And there's a friend of mine that
Well, Ivan, I think you're gone, and I am the only person that's still getting recorded. Should probably use this time to talk shit about Ivan.
okay. Are we back?
We're back. I used that time to talk shit about you because you weren't there, so it's
Dude,
on.
I was freaking out. I thought this was gonna have to like disrupt this whole hour of talking. Okay, no,
Dude, me and the fans were just talking shit about you the last 30 seconds.
you took advantage, right?
Took advantage. Yeah, exactly.
So I was saying we have that friend that's a huge Spurs fan that he just overanalyzes every single game. It's crazy. But he's huge. He was huge, and he's still huge on Derek White. We didn't talk about this.
Mhm.
I didn't believe him because I don't watch that many Spurs games, to be honest. But Derek White has also been great with the Celtics. He's actually
Dude,
found a way to mesh great with them.
I
And
know.
found his footing defensively. He's good. So that was also another piece that
It's a huge piece.
skyrocketed the Celtics from being play-in tournament contender to second in the East. That's crazy.
Dude, Derek White's been huge for the Celtics. But I really think your boy Smart is like
Don't
a
you
defensive player.
I love
Your boy Smart's been playing defense out of his mind. The only thing that the Williams, they call them the Williams bros, but they're not really brothers. Grant Williams and Robert Williams. Robert Williams got hurt. He got the meniscus tear.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If he's gonna stay healthy, that's the
Right.
issue.
So, yeah, exactly. They said he should be back 4 to 6 weeks. I think it happened a couple weeks ago. He was averaging like 10-10 and 2 blocks or something like that. He's kind of like the engine that gets everyone going. People love him here.
He's a
And
voice. He's like the voice. He's the one that motivates the team. Hey, we're down. Hey, let's
yeah,
keep our head in this. Let's not give up. We could do it. Like I like that.
yeah.
Every team needs that. Every team needs
Yeah.
that motivator, that hustler that doesn't give up. I know Miami played the Raptors yesterday, and the Miami was already up by like 8 with 30 seconds, and Raptors would not give up. They just kept on going for the steal, trying to foul. Like, it was just crazy.
It's because they hate Laurie, bro. They hate Kyle Laurie. They basically said
love
you left us.
Yeah.
He left us.
All right. Well, let's finish off the East prediction. So in the play-in scenario, which we have the Brooklyn Nets, which is crazy that they've fallen so low, even with Kyrie being allowed back in home games after they ruled in favor of having unvaccinated players play in their home court in Brooklyn and New York. So they're in 10th right now, tied with Charlotte Hornets. But on the 8th side, you have the Atlanta Hawks, which are 41-37. So between those 3 teams, anything could happen in terms of they could switch from 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Hmm.
I don't think they'll catch up to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which has also been a surprise of a season, which I've loved. Good young
Allen.
core. Mobley has been great as well. Potential rookie of the year. So they have a two-game lead ahead of them. Let's
Mhm.
just say they stay strong. They go 2-1 in the last three games, and they end up with a seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. Brooklyn just lost to the Hawks. The Hawks own the tiebreaker. I actually think the Hawks might sit tight at eight. What do you think?
I think so too.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to shuffle much, and it doesn't really matter between 9 and 10, right? Like as long as you're 8, 9, or 10. Well, I guess 8 matters. If you're 9 and 10, you play each
Eight
other. If you're 8, right,
Um, well, it's two games, but one game, win one game, and you're in.
you're out. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. So 9 and 10. I think play-in is Charlotte Nets. Nets win. Nets beat the Charlotte Hornets in a very close contested game. And the Hawks Nets. I'm gonna go in a bold prediction and say the Atlanta Hawks take it.
Yeah. So wait, I think I might be confused. So doesn't 7 and 8 play against each other, and 9 and 10 play against each other?
Yeah. So how it is a play-in, and for anyone out there that doesn't know how the play-in works, the play-in started with seventh seed all the way to 10th seed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is the seventh and eighth seed play first? They play
Right.
one. Whoever wins that is automatically
Goes.
as seventh,
Yep.
seed. And whoever loses
Plays
goes
the winner of 9 and 10.
faces against the winner of 9 and
Okay.
10. So 9 and 10, they have to win 2 games. Sorry, not 10 games. Sorry, they have to win 2 games
Yep.
regardless to
Which,
make
yeah.
it as an eighth seed, not even as a seventh, as an eighth
Right.
seed.
Okay.
And the eighth
We're on the
seed
same
has
page.
the opportunity to either make it as seventh or make it as eighth. So they have
Do,
better odds.
do you think Cavs will beat Hawks or Hawks will beat Cavs at 7 and 8?
I actually think Cavs beat Hawks if they're all
Uh-huh.
healthy, barring Allen doesn't have another injury and he beats the Hawks. They beat the Hawks, and I think Hawks beat the Nets, and I think Nets have a similar ending to the Lake as the Lakers will.
No, I don't think
Make
so.
You don't think so? You think they'll squeeze him?
I think the Nets are gonna, dude. You have KD,
Yeah,
Kyrie, and Harden. This
they
isn't
just
like
Hawks though.
I know,
So
but it's like you have. I mean, KD's top 2 or 3 players in the league. Harden and Kyrie are behind. They're not too far behind him. You cannot count these guys out. They probably are. They're like salivating that they're the 8th
yeah,
seed probably because no one's gonna think they're gonna do well, and then they're gonna come out and I think they're gonna make the 8th seed, and the Heat better watch out, Ivan. The Heat
I know.
better watch out. This is not the Spurs, Pelicans, or Clips at 8. This is the Brooklyn Nets, dude. KD,
It's crazy.
Kyrie, he can play. He can play all games now, and James Harden, like, it's
No, what do you
scary
mean?
to me.
Harden's with Philly.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
Yeah, but
sorry.
Simmons is not going to play. He's already ruled out. But they have
Yes,
Kyrie. They
yep,
have Goran Dragic. That broke my heart. They have Drummond. I mean, they have a good team.
yeah.
So you're saying Nets. I just say just because I don't like the Nets, I'm going to go with the Hawks. And they made the conference finals last year. So I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they have a little bit more experience, not than the individual players of Kevin Durant and Kyrie, but as a collective team than the Nets right now. So I'll go Hawks, you go Nets.
Oh,
My
and if Simmons plays
Simmons is out. He's already ruled out
for the
today
season, for the regular season,
for the season and playoffs. All
oh,
right.
and playoffs, oh, I think he would be a huge plus on their defensive side.
So let's say the Nets make it. We'll go with your scenario. Nets make it. Do you think they'll beat Miami? Give it to me. Give it to me straight. Come on.
I want to be bold. But I don't think so. I think the Heat are good enough.
Okay.
And I'm gonna pay homage to you because it's your show.
I was about
And it,
to close the laptop and just.
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna give you a little cred, a little respect for
All
the
right.
swish, and I'm gonna say that the Heat will beat the Nets.
Well, look, I'm also going to agree because I'm a huge Heat fan. I'm unbiased. But this is my bold prediction that you're actually going to be like, wow. In the bottom half of the bracket, if it stays how it is, it's going to be Boston Hawks. Boston wins. They go to the second round. Milwaukee, Toronto, Milwaukee wins. They go to the second round. Milwaukee, Boston is going to be a hell of a matchup. I can't wait for that to happen. If it happens, I'm excited. I'm still going to go Bucks though, but it's going to be very close. That might be 6-7 games.
No one gives the Bucks. They're
Yeah.
like no one's giving them any credit. They're the defending champs.
And on the top end of the bracket, I give Miami over Nets, then Philly over Chicago, which is going to be a wild prediction because Chicago is the better team overall. But people are underestimating Maxey and Thibault from the 76ers. They're great defenders, under the radar players. The under the radar players, they could definitely make some noise. And if Harden gets it going and Embiid gets that MVP, he'll be just extra motivated. So I think it's Philly, Miami. I think Miami will take Philly as a revenge from, what was it, 2018, that they got destroyed by Philly in the first round, which was Dwayne Wade's last year, which pissed me off or whatever. I think it was last year. Yeah, I think it was last year. And then it's going to be Miami Bucks. And my bold prediction is Bucks take it. And I hate saying this because I obviously
wow.
Yeah.
This is
But
how
I
you
have-
know. This is how you know how your show is true because
Yeah, I'm
you're
not going to say Heat are going to win it all. That's it.
yeah
No.
I respect that. I respect that, Ivan. I think the Bucks will also come out. Be careful with the Philly and the Heat, man. The Celtics. I want to say that they're gonna do good, but I don't know. Maybe the Celtics. They're hot right now, and all about the playoffs are all about who gets hot at the right time. And as long as they don't peak like now, as long as they keep playing well, I think they got a shot.
I think it's going to be Bucks Suns finals for you, and I think it's going to be Bucks Mavs finals.
Yeah,
But you have Suns winning it all.
yes.
I actually have Bucks. I have Bucks winning it all. I
That's
have
a
Bucks.
joke, Ivan. The Mavs is a joke.
I know, but hey, I want a little motion, man.
A little motion.
Yeah, I want it to be. I want the unexpected to happen, and I want these playoffs to be absolutely crazy.
They're gonna be great, man. I think they're gonna be real good. Who do you have for your MVP?
I think Jokic should have it, just based on how he's playing it. But I think the league is going to give it to Embiid, just because of how I've seen everything come out lately on Twitter and media and everything. They just really want Embiid to win.
Yeah,
And I hate it because honestly, Giannis should definitely be in the running and should definitely be top two. But there's also sucks because Luka's having a great year. But I mean, I don't know what the qualifications are for because everyone's been playing great. But just because he struggled the first 2 months, I think that's what's kind of like pushed him down the ladder in the MVP standings. But I mean, overall, I think Jokic gets his second in a row, which is it's fine with me. And if Embiid wins, hey, he's been playing amazing, so I'll give it to him as well.
yeah, man. Joker averaging what 14 rebounds a game,
It's crazy.
28 points or 27 points, whatever it is.
It's ridiculous. All right, man. We'll see how our predictions pan out. Can't wait for the play-in next week, and then the NBA playoffs start April 16th.
Yeah,
So
man.
the play-in starts April 12th, and the playoffs start April 16th. Jeffrey,
Yeah.
you the man, dude. Thank
Dude,
you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'll have you. Since you asked me all these bold predictions, I have 2 questions for you for predictions.
Shoot.
Who's going to win the Masters this week? Tiger's coming back.
Damn, that's crazy. And what about today?
Huh?
Is that your other question? Today's matchup?
No. Oh, then tonight, UNC versus Kansas.
I'm rooting for UNC. I was rooting for UNC for Duke, and that game was crazy.
Crazy
I
good.
forget his name, but he got injured. He sat out like I think a minute or two and said, "Fuck it, I'm coming back in." That was bold. He has a weird last name. That's why I can't even remember.
Babcock.
Yeah, something like that. But wow, what a beast! And I am predicting UNC, and yeah, man, I definitely want Tiger to win.
Tiger.
That's gonna be great, man. When do they start? Masters start also this weekend, right?
Thursday. It's like the best weekend in sports history, dude.
March
Madness, the Masters, the NBA Finals,
NBA play-in and finals. It's great.
Yep.
Jeffrey, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on, and everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Swish. Remember to follow us on all social media. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere. It's hard to keep up, but we're everywhere. Just follow us, please. The Swish.
The
And
Swish, baby.
next time, shout out to Rafa Nieto, who couldn't be here. I'll see you next time, man. Thanks,
Thank
Jeffrey.
you.
Later, man.
Thanks, Ivan. Later, man.